Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to my presentation. My name is Mackenzie Peterson, and I'm an experimental psychology graduate student at Idaho State University. And today I'm going to be talking to you about giving students choices with their assignments. In particular, I'm going to be going over how to implement a choose-your-own-adventure style assignment in an undergraduate course. So before we get started, I want to go over Idaho State University's land acknowledgement. In an effort to show respect and recognize their intrinsic ties to the land, we acknowledge that Idaho State University is located on the traditional territory of the Shoshone, Bannock, and Paiute peoples, collectively known as the Niu. As a public research university, it is our responsibility to disseminate accurate histories of the regional indigenous people and of our institutional relationship with them. It is ISU's ongoing commitment to the Shoshone Bannock tribes and to our communities that we will collaborate on future educational discourse and activities. So the Choose Your Own Adventure assignment or project is something that I've used in my own classes. I've used it particularly in Introduction to Psychology. It seemed like it was really helpful for students so they could be more engaged with the materials. So the general idea is that students are given multiple options for completing an assignment, and they're going to pick just one of those options. So that's going to help them, again, be more engaged, enjoy working on that assignment, and just feel like they have a sense of autonomy in their coursework. So a couple of examples from my Choose Your Own Adventure assignments included creating a stress reduction plan, working on a behavior modification plan. They took the Big 5 personality test and then reported on how accurate they felt their results were. I also had one where they could write an essay about children's media and gender roles. So that one was really fun to read. I think Brave was one that came up as a character that would defy traditional gender roles. So you get a lot of interesting things that come up with that option. I've also done simulations. So I found a classical conditioning lab online that students were able to engage with, and some of them found it really helpful for understanding those more difficult concepts. So why should you use one of these projects in your class? Well, it's going to help promote student engagement, especially in online courses. I find it so hard sometimes to get students to be really excited about the material or really even engaging with it in a way that's meaningful. And I think with this type of assignment, you can help promote that. It also allows for autonomy. So again, those students get to choose what they're engaging with, and it's going to increase interest and motivation. It also allows students to engage in the course material in a creative way. So for example, when I use this assignment, I basically tell them that the sky's the limit. They can decide how they want to interpret my instructions for the assignment. If they want to turn an assignment that is traditionally more of a written assignment into a story, or if they want to turn it into a mini podcast or something like that, they're welcome to do that. Whatever format is going to help them really enjoy the assignment, I'm all for it. Students also enjoy these type of assignments, and they wish that more professors would implement these type of assignments in their coursework. So at the end of the first semester of using this assignment, I sent out a survey to students and got those good responses back to them. So really, it's not just me that's saying this, but it's also the students who say they want something like this in their coursework. So how do you go about implementing one of these? So the first thing I would do would be consider how many assignments students should complete and how they should pick them. So you can be kind of creative with this if you want. I just went ahead and created a document and put a list of about 7 to 8 projects that they could work on per unit. And I did 3 of these assignments throughout the course of the semester. So that seemed to be pretty effective. I've also heard of people going about creating like bingo cards that students could go and fill out for this assignment. And that might be an interesting one that they can take part in. And it can kind of help you too with making sure that they're not necessarily picking the same type of project each time, but they're picking different options that will require different skills to complete. I usually will allow them to have like 1 or 2 options per chapter or unit. I feel like that was enough. And based on student feedback, they said that was the right amount as well. So 1 to 2 is a good starting point, but if you have a third one that you are really all about, go ahead and throw it in there. And then the biggest thing and the hardest thing is brainstorming what activities you're going to include. So I've given you some examples of types of activities that are really helpful, at least in my class. So a lot of students loved projects that involved art. We also had a few students who like to go the more traditional route and work on a writing project. So it's also handy to have those in there just in case. Simulations were pretty popular, so like that classical conditioning lab that I found online, students seem to really like that one. Doing mini experiments or even like compiling a program for themselves, like that behavior modification plan, those type of things were interesting to read, and hopefully they were actually beneficial to that student's life outside of the classroom. Also, students really enjoyed questionnaires and surveys, so we did the Big Five. I also have allowed the IAT to be an option that they can choose from. So those are pretty helpful ones to get you started on thinking about different types of activities you can include. For an online class, I recommend if you have a really awesome in-person activity that you love, try and find a way to translate that into an online format so that the students can engage with that. And then going back to something I previously said, formatting, let them choose whatever formatting option they want. Students really loved having that flexibility. I had one student who would do all of her assignments through PowerPoint presentations, and she said that she really loved that because it was hard for her to feel as engaged with the material when she's just writing about it, but it was better for her if she could include pictures and different, visuals that could help capture her ideas. So that's something to go for. You can also go super creative and give them suggestions. I had one activity where they had to tell me like 3 changes that occur in the brain when somebody contracts a zombie virus. And I had one student who went ahead and wrote a short story about him turning into a zombie and the different behaviors he was exhibiting and how those behaviors were associated with different parts of the brain. It was so fun to read that assignment. I've also told them they could do comic strips, they can create videos, they can do podcasts, they can do whatever they want. The sky is truly the limit here, and students really appreciate that. I think you'll be surprised by how many creative options you get back when you open that up. As for grading, I've done a couple of things with this assignment. I've used self-grading before, so basically I just had the students tell me what score they believe they received for the assignment and then just include a brief rationale. So that was helpful because then the students are a little more self-aware of what they have done for that assignment and if they've truly earned the score that they're saying they've earned. And it gives them some more autonomy too, because typically I'll allow them to keep whatever grade they have assigned themselves, unless it's obviously like completely wrong, like it's them saying that they did horrible when really they did just fine. Or likewise, if they have said they've done a really great job, but there's really not enough content for me to know if they've even grasped the concepts they're talking about. I actually preferred using a rubric better because I think it gave the students a little bit more structure. So my rubrics would typically include points for demonstrating that they had developed knowledge or mastery of the content, formatting and organization were another section, and then that they completed the requirements for the chosen assignment. So again, like for that zombie virus assignment, they had to list 3 parts of the brain. If they didn't include 3 parts of the brain, obviously we would remove some points there. But those are the 2 options I've used. Both of them have pros and cons, so it's up to you to choose. A couple other things to think about. So if you are going to be doing this in person, I have not tried that yet, but I feel like that would be so fun. I think you could do a lot more group projects. You could do presentations. You could have poster sessions. you could do like have a student give a demonstration about a concept or perform a skit. Basically, you would just like set aside a day in class and have students go over whatever activity they chose to engage in if it was something more of this nature. So I think that would be really cool, but I don't have the full logistics for that since I haven't tried it myself. And then for online classes, again, simulations, questionnaires, art projects, those are all great ideas, but try your best to brainstorm something creative. Again, sky's the limit. Think of really cool stuff. Your students are going to appreciate that. And then be open to student ideas. I even offered up at the bottom of my activities, if there was some concept within the unit that we had covered that a student really wanted to do an assignment on, they could get together with me and we could come up with an idea for a project they could work on. Nobody took me up on that idea, but I left it open and on the table in case somebody did want to do that. So that also might be something you consider including. And lastly, I just want to point out one of the top highlights from using this assignment from an instructor's perspective, and that is that it made grading so much fun. Sometimes, grading can be a little bit challenging to get through, but in this case, I had a great time. I was stunned by how creative the students were, how much effort they were putting in. Every assignment was unique, so it just was so exciting to be able to view those and see how they had understood the concepts and applied them to their projects. Well, that's it for this presentation. I appreciate you coming in and viewing this. But if you have any questions at all about the Choose Your Own Adventure assignment, reach out to me. Again, my name is Mackenzie Peterson, and this is my email, so I hope to hear from you later. Have a great rest of your day.